There were dragons when I was a boy. Oh, there were great, grim sky dragons that nested on the cliff tops like gigantic, scary birds.
The How to Train Your Dragon franchise has been one of the most beloved animated series in modern cinema, and fans still haven't let go of the dream of a fourth movie. Even though The Hidden World seemed like the perfect emotional ending to Hiccup and Toothless's journey, there's still a bunch of potential stories left to tell, especially if a new movie dives into the next generation of dragon riders and their kids. Because let's be honest, who wouldn't want to see Hiccup's children discovering their own bond with dragons, or maybe even Toothless's little Night Fury kids taking flight for the first time? The idea practically writes itself. The franchise began back in 2010 when DreamWorks released the first How to Train Your Dragon, inspired by Cressida Cowell's book of the same name. It introduced audiences to Hiccup, a clumsy Viking teen who wasn't exactly cut out for the warrior life like his father Stoic. But when he met a mysterious and injured dragon, a Night Fury he later named Toothless, everything changed. Instead of seeing dragons as enemies, Hiccup realized they were misunderstood creatures capable of friendship and loyalty. That single bond didn't just change his life, it changed the entire Viking world. The movie became a huge success, earning nearly $500 million worldwide and 2 Oscar nominations. Because of that, DreamWorks greenlit 2 sequels, How to Train Your Dragon 2 in 2014 and The Hidden World in 2019. Each one expanded the story beautifully, introducing new dragons, emotional twists, and breathtaking animation. By the time the third movie arrived, Hiccup and Toothless had both matured. Their friendship evolved into something deeper as they realized that they had to live separate lives, humans above, dragons hidden below, to protect both worlds. It was a touching and satisfying conclusion, but it also left fans wondering what came next. Even though The Hidden World wrapped up their story neatly, it doesn't mean How to Train Your Dragon 4 couldn't work. The universe is rich enough to explore new generations of Vikings and dragons. Imagine Hiccup and Astrid's kids discovering dragons for the first time, or Toothless's adorable offspring meeting human children. That kind of story could bring the heart of the series full circle, showing how the legacy of Hiccup and Toothless continues through their families. It would also give kids watching today a chance to grow up with their own version of the Dragon Rider bond. Of course, if a fourth film ever happens, there's one essential ingredient it can't skip: DeBlois. He's the visionary who directed and wrote all 3 films, and his touch is what made the franchise so emotionally powerful. For the first movie, he co-directed with Chris Sanders, but by the sequels, DeBlois was flying solo, crafting the story arcs and emotional beats that defined Hiccup's journey. Without him, the magic of How to Train Your Dragon just wouldn't feel the same. He knows how to balance adventure with heart, and his storytelling is what gave the movies their timeless quality. Back in 2014, DeBlois mentioned that he saw the trilogy as a complete story. He explained that he and DreamWorks' leadership agreed it should end as a trilogy with a clear beginning, middle, and end. But time changes everything, and even though he once said he wasn't planning a fourth movie, fans can't help but hope that maybe, just maybe, he's reconsidered, because the world he built is too rich to stay dormant forever. Let's face it, the trilogy left so many stories waiting to be told. The ending of The Hidden World gave us a glimpse of Hiccup and Astrid's children meeting Toothless and his Night Fury family for the first time. That short but powerful scene could easily serve as the start of a new adventure. Imagine Hiccup's kids discovering the hidden world of dragons, sneaking off to explore it, and forging their own friendship with Toothless's offspring. There's something magical about that idea because it mirrors the wonder and innocence of the very first movie, but through a fresh lens. And it's not just about nostalgia. A story centered around Hiccup and Astrid's children could bring new themes to the table, like responsibility, courage, and finding your own identity beyond your parents' shadow. It could even explore the challenges of growing up in a world where dragons are thought to be gone. What happens when the next generation discovers they aren't? That kind of curiosity and adventure could create an exciting dynamic between kids and dragons that feels both new and familiar. There's also the Toothless family to think about. The last movie showed Toothless as a proud father raising his Night Fury hatchlings with a Light Fury. These little dragons were adorable glimpses of what could come next. A fourth film could easily follow them as they grow up, test their wings, and maybe even get into trouble exploring human lands. Kids connecting with Toothless's dragon children would be a beautiful way to bring both families together again, showing how friendship between species continues across generations. If that's not enough to make a strong story foundation, the movie could also explore how the dragon's world has evolved. Maybe new dragon species have appeared, or ancient ones have returned. There could even be conflicts between humans who want to rediscover dragons for selfish reasons and those who want to protect them. That kind of adventure would give the film plenty of action and heart, while still keeping the emotional storytelling that defines the series. Of course, some fans worry that a fourth movie might mess with the trilogy's perfect ending, but it doesn't have to. The key is to make it a natural continuation, not a retelling. Hiccup and Toothless' story could still serve as the foundation, while the spotlight shifts to the next generation. Think of it like how Kung Fu Panda or Toy Story evolved. They didn't erase the past, they just built upon it. As long as DeBlois returns to guide the story, How to Train Your Dragon 4 could easily capture that same magic without losing what made the original special. There's also the possibility of expanding through spin-offs, and one of the most promising ideas has always been a Volca prequel. Cate Blanchett's character, introduced in How to Train Your Dragon 2, added so much depth to the series. Her backstory, being Hiccup's long-lost mother who spent years rescuing dragons, was fascinating but barely explored. A film centered on her could show how she became the masked dragon thief, how she built her sanctuary, and what kind of challenges she faced while living among dragons. It could even introduce brand new dragon species and villains, expanding the mythology without interfering with the main timeline. A Volca movie could also open the door for more female-led stories in the franchise, something audiences have been asking for. Since Cate Blanchett's voice brought wisdom and strength to the character, bringing her back would add instant appeal. Plus, there's a 20-year gap between when she disappeared and when she reunited with her family, plenty of space to explore her adventures and alliances. Still, when it comes to How to Train Your Dragon 4, the biggest draw will always be Hiccup, Toothless, and their legacy. A new chapter could start decades after The Hidden World, showing a time when dragons are nothing more than myths to most people. But for Hiccup's kids, that myth suddenly becomes real when they stumble upon Toothless's family. The discovery could reignite humanity's connection to dragons and set up a whole new era of cooperation and wonder. And imagine the emotional weight of Toothless seeing Hiccup again, not as a boy who trained him, but as a grown man watching his own children form the same kind of bond he once had. It's the kind of storytelling that hits both new audiences and longtime fans right in the heart. In the end, How to Train Your Dragon 4 doesn't need to reinvent the series, it just needs to honor it. It could celebrate growth, family, and the idea that friendship, no matter the species, can last across generations. The franchise has already proven it can handle deep themes about love, loss, and letting go, so a story about the children of both Hiccup and Toothless feels like the perfect evolution. So even though the odds might not be in its favor right now, it's hard not to believe that someday we'll see another adventure in this world. Because stories like How to Train Your Dragon don't really end. They just pause, waiting for the next dreamer to pick up where the last one left off. And when that moment comes, whether it's Hiccup's kids, Toothless's hatchlings, or maybe even a mix of both, it'll remind us why we fell in love with this world in the first place, because friendship and courage never go out of style. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.